Welcome to the Build Guild podcast, a professionally unprofessional podcast for makers. So I hope you guys are good at asking questions, because Jason's a lot better talker than me.
Jason's talker.
Jason's better talker than anybody at this table.
The entire episode was him talking.
That's okay.
Hey, that's what we want.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
So we have Casey Arms, Daniel Casey, today. And give us a little bit about what you make.
So yeah, my name is Daniel Casey, owner and operator at Casey Arms. Mostly call myself a traditional blacksmith, but I do a lot more than that. I do build some furniture. I do traditional gunsmithing and bladesmithing as well, so it has a lot of aspects. I work with a lot of mediums, I guess you would say.
Yeah, because I've seen a table you've made,
Mm-hmm.
so it's not just metal.
That's right, yep.
And you brought a gun
Yeah,
today,
so this
which
gun
is incredible.
is under construction right now. It's been about 3 years in the making so far.
Oh, wow.
The way that we work is when a customer orders something, we figure out what they want, and we only work to custom order, and they put a 50% deposit. We build the project, whatever it is, and then final 50% upon delivery.
How did you come up with that 50%? Or, you started out as not Casey Arms.
Right.
Yeah. How do you come up with it? Like, we struggle with Brian. I always try to tell him to pay.
Why are you always picking on me?
I try to get him to raise his prices because he
You're
undervalues
right.
himself.
Everyone at this table is a better businessman than I am.
No, I'm just saying the common theme. The common theme I see always is pricing and how do you value yourself.
So
But you came
that.
out with like 50% down. Done.
Right. Yeah, and it took me a long time to come to that. So I got burned really bad one time. It takes me on average for like one of my plainest rifles that I build, minimum a month to build it. So I had a gentleman at a show in Kentucky tell me that he wanted a rifle, that if I'd meet him back at that show next year, he'd pick up the rifle. So I spent a month and a half and built him a rifle. Show up, he decided he doesn't want the rifle. So here I am stuck with a $2,000, $3,000 gun that took me a month and a half to build, and I got to bite it, got to eat it, take it home. So I learned right then that you got to get them to invest before you take off, or you're going to lose your butt on it.
Yeah.
So.
And that was a custom rifle.
Yes,
like
it was.
It's not
and
something.
it was
you could...
a low end. It wasn't super fancy. Not a lot of embellishment, but it was a lot of work, and it hurt bad to drive all that distance, planning on coming home with a paycheck.
Yeah.
And then not. So we had a a show on History Channel called Iron and Fire. And after that show aired, we had just an influx of emails and messages and everything, people wanting to order things, and we had to come up with something fast, And at first, for the first, I don't know, maybe 30 to 50 orders, I was saying, 100% down. They have to pay for it, and then I'll build it and then ship it to them. But then that gets kind of scary because something goes wrong, you spend the money, and you still got to do the work, and there's no payment coming at the end. Okay. So that's what led us to the 50%. That way you've got something coming at the end. You've got the money to buy materials at the beginning.
Yeah.
Less chance of shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
So
bring us back all the way to when you started Casey Arms.
So
I was like 12 years old when you started blacksmithing, right?
Yep. I built my first forge when I was 12 out of the brake drum of a Chevette. And then my little brother was my blower. He blew on a pipe for me.
Whoa.
Somebody had to have taught you how you weren't checking out YouTube at that time.
No,
I don't think it existed
there
then.
was.
I don't think it was. No.
Just dismantled a Chevette and went at it.
It's like
Mom, you're not using this. No, so we actually didn't have television when I was a kid. I'm next to youngest of 8.
Craziness.
I was
That's awesome.
homeschooled.
See, Ben, people do that. Okay.
I understand it.
yeah, your girls are gonna start a forge.
That's right. They are. Yeah. I'm gonna put those girls in the backyard, and they're gonna be having a
Brian
crucible
has
purifying
no
silver
and no
or
television.
something.
That's awesome. That's a good thing. That's healthy.
Almost no electricity.
Yeah.
Shut up. Sorry. Go ahead.
No. So
Running
I
joke,
read
sorry.
books. I read books a lot. I love to read. I love Pioneer, Westward Expansion, and there was a set of books called Foxfire books. Surely somebody at this table has heard of them. It's Appalachian crafts, like how to build log cabins,
I have not.
wooden buckets, butter churns, wagon wheels, all that stuff.
Afraid not.
Anyway, my dad had that set of books. I loved it, and it had blacksmithing in there, so that was kind of a doorway for me. And then from there, one thing, as an outlet for us kids, my mom would take us to the library once a week and drop us off while she went grocery shopping so we could get whatever we wanted. So I found every book I could on, skills of handcraft. I wanted to use old hand tools and do things the old way. And that, I guess, inspired me to build my first forge so young.
At 12.
Yeah.
Like you did that by yourself.
My parents let me watch cartoons and screwed me up. I'm telling
I
you,
wasn't doing
that's the
anything like
problem.
that at 12.
12 years old, I was like Ninja Turtles.
That's amazing.
I could have been building a fort.
So
in my
by
backyard.
no means was I making anything worth a darn to anybody.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was just out there playing,
You're melting metal.
burning, melting a lot of metal.
Which
absolutely.
sounds really cool
It
as a
does
12-year-old.
Yeah.
no mishaps. You have all your fingers and everything.
Absolutely, yeah. There was lots of burns for sure. And
Oh,
I
man.
tell, I teach classes now. I have people come from all over and come take 2 and 3 day classes on bladesmithing or blacksmithing, whatever. But my dad's shop was right across the driveway from maybe a 1/4 acre pond. And I cannot tell you how many hundreds of knives and spears and whatever that I got halfway made and burn it or broke it or bent it and threw it in that pond. out there. So if anybody
Stabbing
ever
fish.
runs a dredge through the, they're
Yeah.
gonna
Do
think
not
that's some
go
battle
swimming
to
in
us.
that
This is
pond.
weaponized
Yeah.
place here.
But it was a good place to start learning. Learn what not to do.
Yeah.
And then-
Failure seems to be the
It's a great teacher.
The teacher
and
of
pain
success.
is a good teacher
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So you bring it. So you go through school. You're homeschooled all the way, right?
Mhm.
And then you graduate, and then you're like,
Yeah,
what am I
so
gonna do? Are you
whenever-
selling knives by the time you're graduating?
Yes, I was. When I was 15, my dad had actually brought home a video by a guy from Kentucky named Herschel House, and he's a traditional knife and gunsmith. He's actually restored Davy Crockett's rifle that hangs at the Alamo. Sometimes it's at a museum in Tennessee.
Whoa.
His younger brother built the pipe tomahawk, the rifle, and the shooting bag for Mel Gibson in The Patriot.
Oh.
He built the pistols for Russell Crowe and Master and Commander. He did some works on Pirates of the Caribbean. They're really out there, very well-known guys. I was able to write letters from the address on the back of this VHS sleeve to the guy Herschel House in Kentucky that made this blacksmithing video. And I wrote him 6 letters telling him that I've already built the forge. I really want to do this, want to learn how. And he finally wrote me back and was like, come down, gave me a date. And I went, my parents dropped me off at 15 years old in Kentucky. And I spent 3.5 weeks there, and we built my first rifle and first pistol together.
Your mom and dad are crazy.
Your parents
they
are awesome. Man,
That's insane.
And he just
again, my parents just
"Come
let me
on
watch
down and
cartoons.
It was
And-
a series of letters. I mean, I would send him pictures of my failures that I was attempting
Okay.
and whatnot,
So
and
you-
tell him I had watched his videos. He was actually in Foxfire books as well, the series of books that I referred to earlier.
right.
And I told him I had read his, part about building a rifle in Foxfire books, and I guess that my fan, my love of him, I was starstruck that he appreciated that enough to
Okay.
let me come down. Now, don't get me wrong, I busted my tail while I was there.
I can
I
imagine.
mowed grass and split firewood, and
Okay.
he collects Model A and Model T, old Fords. And we've worked on brakes and pulled engines out and did all kinds of stuff. I was his hands, and he taught me,
Did he-
got my foot in the door.
Wow.
Where was his son there with him at that time? Or you were just-
Herschel, it does not have any sons.
Oh.
He has 2 brothers.
Okay.
There's 3 brothers altogether. Herschel, Frank, and John. And 99% of the craft that I learned was from Herschel. But I would go from 15 until now. I usually go at least once a year, try to help him with a seminar or go visit, and so and by no means was it a traditional apprenticeship, but he kind of got my foot in the door, and I'd
Yeah.
come back every year and tell him of successes and failures, and he'd help me out along the way, so
Right.
I can't say I'm self-taught, but maybe 70% self-taught,
That's-
30% guided,
Yeah, but you had the wherewithal as a 15-year-old kid to say,
Yeah.
And that's
Like,
what's so weird to
I-
me
you know,
is that I've
the
always
drive.
known that I wanted to make,
Yeah.
I wanted to build something.
yeah, that's awesome. So you graduate, and you just say, KC Arms, we're open.
No, Casey Arms, we actually didn't establish Casey Arms until after Iron and Fire, the TV show.
Really?
We needed a business name, and we needed a website, we needed a Facebook, all this stuff.
Right.
So we kind of put that together during the filming of Iron and Fire, the show we did for History Channel. But I worked a full-time job, whether it was a machine shop or framing houses, pouring concrete, driving truck. I've done a little bit of everything. And then always on the side was building rifles, building knives, building some kind of artistic something, And I always wanted to do it full-time, but until we got the opportunity to do the TV show and get my name out there enough, I've only actually been doing it completely full-time for almost 4 years now.
When did the show end? Was it?
So, my youngest son is 3.5, and he was born the last episode of the show.
The last episode.
So,
Yeah. Wow. How did talk about how the show happened?
So I worked at a
Are you
machine
writing
shop.
somebody's letters?
No,
Somebody-
More letters.
You're writing Paramount.
Yeah.
Annie.
It might have worked. It might.
I'm starting
No, so
now.
it's completely my wife's fault that we got a TV show because I worked at a machine shop in Searcy, and I would go in at like 3 a.m., get off at 12 in the afternoon, and then I had the rest of the day to work on whatever I was building, and then go to bed by 8 and back up at 3, you know. Anyways, there was a section in the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette newspaper, like a center page about craftsmen in Arkansas, and I saw 2 or 3 different craftsmen. I told my wife I should call them and see if they want to come to the shop, and never did it. And so she finally talked to me and was like, you need to call them. I called them. They came to the story. This was like 2014. And, excuse me, like 6 months after they did the story, I had a voicemail on my phone when I got home from the machine shop one afternoon. And it was a director of development for a production company was looking to do a documentary for History Channel and had seen the article in the newspaper. So left me a voicemail. And that's how it all began.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
An Arkansas
Yeah.
article.
Craftsman of the Ozarks was the original, what they were going for.
Oh, okay.
So
gotcha.
it was going to be a documentary with a bunch of craftsmen throughout the state and like short segments with each. But they came to do a sizzle reel at my shop, and we went all out. I was just finishing up a rifle, so we finished the rifle, shot it for them, cooked a big old meal, you know, just gave them a good old Southern hospitality dose, and they really enjoyed it. And next thing you know, we were starting a TV show.
That is awesome.
Your wife pushed you to be on TV, didn't she?
Yeah, there's something about
So-
women making you do stuff.
Yeah.
So
I hate to admit it. but
yeah,
it's a good thing.
yeah, it is. But again, that's the same thing we talked about with Jason. It's like because our wives, I guess, see us and I don't know, see the potential and
Right.
and what we can do way more and value us more than we value ourselves. They just
absolutely.
push us to that.
That goes back to what y'all were saying earlier. How'd you come up with 50%? Like, forever, I asked the gentleman that I learned from, Herschel and Frank, what should I charge for this? How much should I ask for this? What is this worth? And they would never give me a straight answer. Almost always their answer was, well, what's your time worth?
That used to drive me insane.
And it's true.
And now,
is
it makes
so
more sense
true.
to me now as an
Yes,
adult that I've
yes.
been, hit over the head with it by people like you and Jason and
Yes.
Ben and
I have,
everyone else.
young guys that come to my shop that are aspiring smiths or whatever, and always ask me the same thing.
Yeah.
And you can't tell them, because I recognize now, after 16 years of attempts and failure, that I'm finally am worth something.
Right.
And I can recognize that. So I'm gonna get what I'm worth, or I'm not gonna do it.
Yep.
But if you're 16 and you've made a crude knife and you want to sell it so you can make another one, get what you can out of it and move on. I get it. But I got 4 mouths to feed nowadays. Yeah.
That's the benefit of me selling on Etsy. The few items I do sell, like the color pencil bowl.
Right.
Like, I don't know. If I was a buyer, I don't think I'd spend what I charge for
Oh
it.
yeah.
But
And it
someone
blows my mind.
But they
somewhere,
do.
Absolutely.
all across the globe, buys.
Yes.
Finding the right buyer
Mm-hmm.
is part of the equation, I guess.
Yes, for so much. We've shipped knives to. I probably shouldn't name all the countries because I'm not sure about some of them.
You're not allowed to put that in.
But across a lot of borders, and it's so awesome to me. Like I've got knives in Norway and Canada and all that, and that is cool to me. That when I kick the bucket, there's still going to be my name out there
Absolutely.
floating around somewhere. You know?
Do you mark?
There's still people in other countries getting stabbed by the knife.
The weapons getting
letting blood?
Do you mark everything you make with your own
yeah.
mark?
So I have what I call my touch mark, and it's a square with my initials DWC inside the square. Every blade, every rifle, everything that I make.
Is that a
the same.
common thing for blacksmithing to
It
do?
is,
Like just your
especially-
initials?
Especially traditional bladesmiths and gunsmiths, almost all of them back in the day that were highly recognized anyways,
Yeah.
had their own defining touch mark or stamp.
Okay.
So
Do
I
you-
try to stick with that.
Are you are you transitioning out of making arms to more teaching now? Is that something you want to do, or 50-50, or?
Well, I kind of feel like what I do is pretty rare, and that it's partly my responsibility to keep it alive in some way. So I offer classes, but I usually only do them during the winter months because you're standing in front of a 2,000-degree fire. So we had one guy have a heat stroke on the porch of my shop one time, and that was scary.
Oh.
So we only do winter classes now. And I mean, classes really drain me because if you have 2 or 3 guys, you're not just building a knife and telling them how to do it. You're making sure they don't mess up and that they don't burn their knife or crack their handle or whatever. So it's constant buzzing around from one guy to the next. And you want to be proud of what they leave with. So you don't want to slack and let them excuse my French. You know what I'm saying? Because you want to be proud of what they live with. You want them to be proud of it because they're going to go out and show their buddies and say, I went to Casey.
There you
Arms
go.
and built
It's
this."
still essentially
So,
a Casey Arms.
it is.
You know,
Yeah,
whatever
at the
they
end of
make.
the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, we've had a lot of classes and a lot of great feedback on it. Never had anybody leave unhappy, but that's definitely not my passion. I much more enjoy the build, but I feel like it's kind of my obligation to offer some classes.
Are you by yourself? Like in the show, there's cousins?
So I had my nephew and my youngest brother working for me while we did the show, and they worked for me probably about 6 months after we were done with the show too.
Did they work for you because of the show?
Yes.
Like they said, bring other people in because you by yourself is
absolutely.
boring.
Right. Well, I told them when they said they wanted to do a show, I said the only thing more boring than pushing a file all day is watching somebody push a file all day. How are you gonna make a show out of that? But no, it was just sequences. You know, like to build a gun stock, you've got to first cut out the profile and then inlet the barrel, then inlet the lock. To have them there to do the menial task, I guess you would say, and to just have that extra pair of hands that knows where the tools are, etc., was huge. And they did help me do a lot of knife orders after the show came out as well.
Now, did your brother have to blow the whole time, or did he get a different job?
Oh, finally, good for him. We got a hand cranked blower. So
Okay.
he still blows sometimes, just not on the forge. Oh goodness!
Cody.
You opened that door.
I
really
did.
wide.
I did. I left it open.
So are they making anything anymore, or they moved on?
So
to,
my
to other
nephew
things?
is in college and he's doing a lot of photography. He's really into photography. He's worked some for a news station out of Jonesboro. And my youngest brother, he has worked some as machinist since then. And he loves to build. He does like a lot of birdhouses, real like folksy with, you know, random things incorporated into the birdhouses.
Yeah.
But he works as a small engine mechanic. Right
Okay.
So.
So you explode when the show comes out?
Yeah,
You
can we talk about that for a minute?
Go for it.
Because, I mean, I was just wondering how quick did you have to move?
Because Cody might have this
That's
same
what I'm getting
issue.
at. I mean, hopefully Cody's going to have a similar problem.
Absolutely.
What did
Yeah,
you have
hopefully.
to do? How fast did you have to move? And were you able to catch up with it in time?
So I'm still not caught up. And it's been 3.5 years.
Oh, my God.
And, I
Well,
mean,
that is a blessing.
Yeah.
absolutely.
I mean,
It's a blessing and a curse because I took on this much work with 3 people working there. And then my other 2 found their other paths and went on them. So I've been hustling for 2.5 years to try to keep up, you know. But it is a blessing and a curse, no doubt. But it was within 3 to 6 weeks of that first episode airing. You know, every other week you're having a new episode air.
Okay.
So with each forthcoming episode that we had, and I'm sure with each replay that y'all have, we would get more and more emails, and then we start getting emails you got to translate, and when they start airing it around the world, you know,
Translate.
and, like
Got
copy
the
and
Norwegian
paste to Google.
emails.
I didn't think of that,
Everything.
yeah.
And really, a lot of it was tire kickers. I'm not gonna lie. I mean,
Okay.
you'd have open your inbox and be 187 emails.
Oh, my gosh.
And you have to reply to each one of them because we're custom. So they say, I want a knife this long, this handle, whatever. And so you have to take the time to figure out how to price that, give them a reasonable price and explanation, try to make it sound professional, and get 187 of those done. That was the first 6 months after the show, every single day. Like, I could have spent my 8 hours a day doing emails instead of working, you know. So
What
it was
percent of that
crazy.
became a customer?
I would say maybe 10%.
yeah, man.
Life of a
Because
pricing person,
Oh,
I guess.
yes,
That's
yes.
basically what you become.
Yeah, and then you have to decide. See, I had for all this time done it because I loved it. I'd done a lot of orders, custom orders for people, but it was never in such quantity, you know? Like, I could say, oh, that's a cool knife. I could build that for whatever. But now I have, people are sending you some crazy Indonesian, you know, like Star Trek looking blade to make. You got to figure out a way to price that stuff. So that was my biggest challenge. Is I was so scared to give a price for something I'd never done before, not because I didn't think I could do it, but because I had no idea how much time I was going to have in it, you know? So you got to figure out how to come up with a ballpark price and then tack on a percentage to not shoot yourself.
That's what you'd tell them. Like, I can ballpark this.
Yeah. And
Plus or minus,
right.
Probably plus
exactly
this percent
in reality,
because I have never done exactly this before. Okay.
And usually, in my world anyway, I might have to make some special tooling to make that piece, or what have you, a special tool for the anvil or a punch or a chisel or whatever. So
yeah.
You got to think about those things.
Well, I mean, yeah, the most I'd have to do is make a jig.
Right.
Like to do something.
And that's
crazy.
just basically the same thing that I'm talking about. But you'll have it from then on if you ever build
You
another
ever make a
one.
weird Star Trek sword?
Yeah. Well, so that's just been kind of my thing is, because that's what I do, is just custom furniture, usually by order. So, like, it takes me time to take out and draw the rendering and come up with something to show them. And then if they're like,
yeah,
or I give them the price, and that's usually when it's like, and it's like, well, that took me 2 hours.
Yes, exactly.
And
you
like,
lost that.
and
you
I
can't
lost
get it
that
back.
time,
Yeah.
and I made nothing from it.
Yep. That's another big struggle for me is that some people have seen what you can do and they trust you. They believe that you can do whatever you're talking about doing.
Yeah.
But then there's the people that want to see a diagram, a blueprint, a sketch. Yeah. And I do it with pencil and graph paper,
Yeah,
and I'm not a pencil artist. I'm a medium artist. Like, give me something to form or shape. And that's hard for me. To get them to see what I'm envisioning on paper is hard.
I'm right there with you, buddy.
Yes.
So is that what you do then? Do you draw it on graph paper and literally show that to the client and here's my mock-up, here's what it'll look like?
Yep.
Yes or no?
Now,
awesome.
This is something that I did do
awesome.
with the table that I'm building now. Is I took, because in my head I knew what I wanted to do to it, so I took photos of different things that I'd seen on different projects, or even like wasn't really for like a table, but I saw it somewhere else and I was like, that'd be cool on a table. So like just like clip art, like cut it out and then put it like with string and tacks to my graph drawing.
That's cool.
To like kind of give her an idea.
Absolutely.
And that was way less time consuming than trying to do it.
And gets it all across too, that you incorporate all these elements.
Yeah. So I don't know that, but it still takes a while to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't want my drawing to look like a kindergartner did it either, So I spend a lot more time erasing than I do drawing. So.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
But they're coming to you because they already know you. Like, you've already won the battle for them to get to you.
Right.
So there's something to be like, they've seen something.
Sure. They've seen the examples of the final product. They know where this is going.
Yeah.
Weeding out those customers that are like, can you make this for $50 less? You know what I mean? Like,
Did I ever tell you guys the cane story?
No. Tell me the cane story.
There's a cane. So there was this woman, she wanted me to make a custom cane out of oak, right? I was for like her son or something who had a bad foot or something. I was like, yeah, I can do that. And I gave her the price, and she goes, well, I can get them at Bed Bath or whatever for this price. Can you do any cheaper? And like my price was already $5 cheaper than what she had told me, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong price, and I gave her like $15 more than what it was because I was like,
oh snap!
Like, why are you gonna like?
Right.
That's what you
evil,
do.
But
I don't think that's evil at all.
To do that
I was like, well,
I've had a few guys that will come and like price something and get you to draw a mock-up and then be like, and just walk away, and then come back 6 months later and do the same crap to you. So every time they come back, I add a little bit to it.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't appreciate the time and effort that I'm putting into it and you're just going to keep yanking my chain, then here's what it costs, bro.
Yeah.
That's time.
Yeah.
That's time they're taking.
Yep.
Time is money.
Like, the greatest customer on the planet to me is somebody that comes up and says, I love this style of knife. I want blade length, yada, yada. Make it how you think it's awesome.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yes.
That's what I did.
Oh,
man.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I did with that scroll saw art of my shop.
So, and just this is just some like this is just advice. If a client was to come to me and say, I want something in like either like industrial, modern, whatever, I need it this size, I trust you, like at that point I'm probably gonna like even cut you a little bit of a deal.
Well, your heart and soul is in that.
Because now I get to create something that I want to
Exactly.
For sure.
showcase. and now I want to make it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
And so,
tried
like-
to go when they give you that opening and that freedom, artistic freedom. I tried everything to go above and beyond and make it
Yeah.
worth
Yes.
more than what they're paying
Yes.
for it, because they just, I don't know, let you do what you do by being open
Yes.
to your interpretation
and so-
of whatever they want.
Yeah, and now you just made it an art.
Yes.
You just made art.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like that is my yes. If
Yeah.
I could have every client that was like that.
So I'm getting within a few months of being caught up with our initial back order from the show, and to where we'll be back to even, you know.
From 3.5
From
years ago.
4 years ago.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
And it's scary because having a back order is job security.
That's what I was just
Yeah.
thinking.
But in the same breath, every artist wants to make what they want to make, you know. So this is about to be the testing time to see if I'm really an artist or a guy that had a TV show.
Yeah.
Because then I can make stuff, and if it sells, I'm going to make a living, and if it doesn't, I'm going to be calling Adams and seeing if I can
Find your place. That's right. You'll make a custom wand,
I
you
can-
know?
a little bitty bug gig.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What do you ever get to make anything for yourself?
Yeah, I was about to
Are you-
ask, in these past 3.5 years, have you gotten to do what you want to do, like what you want to do, a project that you thought up and executed on your own?
So
Have
I
you had
do
time?
enjoy a lot of the projects
Sure.
that I do get to do, but one in particular that I'm in progress on building right now is a gentleman came to me and he wanted to invest in Casey Arms, and there were some things we needed. For instance, my blacksmith shop section of the shop and the wood shop, like the where I work on tables, etc., were both dirt floors.
Hmm.
And I really wanted concrete in there, so when it rained, there wasn't the Nile River flowing.
Yeah.
through it,
That'd be
etc.
nice.
I don't know how you finish anything with a wood floor
Yeah.
and keep
Yeah.
it clean.
You don't. So anyways, he made an investment in the company, and I was able to use that money, improve the shop, and fix up a few things that we needed. And in return, I'm building a table that is live edge cherry, the one I was talking about doing the epoxy right now. And I'm forging all of the underneath. It'll be all forged iron leaves and vines. And relief
cool.
carved
Yeah.
onto the tabletop is vines to match the iron vines. And I'm wanting to do the epoxy resin around it. But I'm planning on getting that finished and selling it and then paying him back for his investment and hopefully getting a little bit of profit off the top of it. So that I've been really enjoying,
Nice.
forging all the iron leaves, just building what I want to build
Yeah.
to
Now,
pay him back.
are
for
you
his
doing? So there's just like when you can do what you do as far as like blacksmithing and like your metalwork, your silversmithing. Like I say,
You do
we keep saying
silversmithing?
oh yeah. So he keeps saying
That was all the smithing.
blacksmithing, but the rifle that we have behind us, you have silversmithing in it. The flash pan is gold.
What?
Like, you did like 4 hours on a flash pan that's like
Yeah.
less than
dime.
half an inch.
Yeah.
You know.
I
So
see it now.
so what I
That's
like
gold?
I don't know. Like
That's
you
amazing.
have that, but then you have that with wood. Like it's endless
possibilities.
Oh,
Like
it really
yeah.
is.
like just
Absolutely.
all kinds of stuff keep coming. Like Dutch keys out of like metal or silver. Like that'd be
Like
awesome.
this might be like a silly dream, but my dream is to end up one day. I want to actually do some sculpture, like full body size sculpture. I actually quoted a sculpture idea to Matt Faulkner for Cersei. You know, the hunter that found the bear at the
Yeah,
Stone's house.
yeah.
So we had talked about doing a fountain right outside the library. Excuse me, with a bear coming up to the fountain, like really big, so kids could take pictures on it, etc. And then across
That would
the
be
road,
cool.
a hunter with his rifle in the prone position.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
And I quoted it, but to get that cast in bronze after carving, you know, it'd be ridiculously expensive. But I'd love to end up there, because
Man.
when you work with so many mediums, it opens doors every time. You know, you feel like,
Yeah.
oh, now I could X every time. You know,
Man.
Maybe we could 3D print that.
Well,
Yeah.
Tap, 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 tap.
gonna guess we're gonna need something more sturdy than PLA
I
for
don't-
something like
I don't
that.
Yeah.
ABS
I don't know.
coated in.
That's just
Yeah.
very impressive.
Bronze.
And I just see like I don't know.
Man, I think that I'm so blessed to get to do what I do for a living. Like, I'm not getting rich. We don't have a big savings account or a 401k, but I'm close to my kids. I'm close to home. And I get to do what I truly enjoy doing every day. Is that worth more than those other things.
100% yes in my book.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, and there's days where I don't want to go to work. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what you do. Jimi Hendrix had to have had a day where he didn't want to go to work.
Yeah. Oh, there was when he was in the army. Have you ever read his discharge report? It's hilarious.
No.
You get time. Yeah. So I was in the 101st, and so like when I was a kid, like I was a huge fan of Jimi Hendrix, and so I was like, oh, 101st, Jimi Hendrix is in the 101st.
Wow,
Oh, I didn't know
I
that.
didn't know that.
Yeah, I found his discharge report, and apparently he's just some lazy private who smoked weed all the time. And so
Nothing
like,
changed.
and so nothing changed except for
His
he
meat.
got-
Lighting guitars.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was his bad day, right?
Yeah.
Let's change things. I'm gonna light this
So-
sucker on fire and smash it.
So yeah, it's just funny you mentioned that.
That's
Wow.
small world we live in.
Yeah.
So what's going on with Casey Arms now? You're catching up. Do you have a website where you sell things on? Do you have an Etsy? How do you get the
So
word
since
out?
we're all custom, we do have a website, caseyarms.com, but it has a gallery, and like we have a shop now, a kind of store where we have t-shirts, apparel, merchandise, whatever you want to call it. But there is nowhere to buy something now as far as a knife, a rifle, etc., because it's all custom.
It
built.
has
So
been. But you're getting close to where you
I
might
hope
have
so,
some
yeah.
stock.
yeah, I'd love to be to the point to where we could keep 5 or 6 knives and maybe a rifle available for, somebody that wants to buy now.
Yeah.
Guy. What, impulse buyers. That's what I'm trying to say. Because that is non-existent for us right now, unless it's a hat or a T-shirt.
Right.
So, but it's also, sometimes a good thing because there's no such thing as returns when you invest that and wait that long. You can't send it back with your name out engraved all over it.
Right.
But if you're not happy with it, we're going to go above and beyond to make sure that you are happy with it.
Have you ever had that happen?
So far, 16 years of making stuff, I've never had anything returned or, never had anybody just upset. I've had to, just fix one thing or here or there, but never had any fails. 100% fails, at least not that were delivered. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that you hear it right here is that if you buy a Casey Arms
100%.
thing, it's 100% satisfaction
It's
guaranteed.
looking
So
good.
far, yes.
So,
And it's
looking
guaranteed for my lifetime. And when I croak, you're out of luck.
Any plans on getting employees again?
So I have tried to several times since my nephew and little brother, but the learning curve is really extreme to work on such a variety of mediums. So I found all the times that I tried to hire somebody that I was losing a lot more money than I was gaining and losing a lot more time than I was gaining. So in a perfect world, I would love to have another pair of hands eventually, but right now it's not very economically realistic for me.
But everyone skilled at that point would be doing it on their own.
Sure.
It'd be hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be hard to.
Like my nephew that is in college right now, he wants to come back, but he was in the Army, has his GI Bill, and this is his opportunity to use it
Sure.
to get an education. So I support that 100%.
Yeah.
But he would be the one I would want back, not some random person, because he already knows how it works, knows what to do and not to do. And
Right.
that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like,
So
it
do you-
was-
Insurance, even.
Are you?
I mean,
yeah.
that's a big deal. When people,
Yeah.
you don't know what you're doing, and
Oh,
this thing
yes.
gets 2,000 degrees.
Yes.
Are you any
Man.
closer to getting any employees, Cody?
Man, I'm more closer to just hiring someone to do just the administrative part.
Mm.
Like, I think the build wise, I could keep up with on my what I have right now. But like, just like we were talking about before, answering emails.
But when that
Phone
show
calls.
airs, though, that might be a different story.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So I
Fingers
don't know.
crossed.
Are you getting scared now? That, like this is
Are you
coming
married?
up a lot.
What's that?
You married?
Yes.
Does your wife work?
Yes.
I mean, you're not as lucky as I am. She does
Yeah.
my emails
No.
and everything now.
Your wife doesn't work. She stays at home.
Since the day my oldest was born, he's 7 now, she has not worked. And we've managed to make it on either my work or working part-time, whatever, and
Yeah.
my shop.
That's
So,
a
yeah.
blessing, man.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
There's nobody better in the world to be with your kids all the time than
Yeah. That's absolutely true.
And she's an amazing, she does all of our secretarial work, all the invoicing, all the emails, all the annoying people that I don't want to talk to. Like,
Why is it that the creatives always want to just be left alone and not deal
Well,
with customers?
no, hey,
Right, Brian?
Jason does not want it that way.
Yeah,
Jason
sure.
White likes to talk
He
to
is a little
people.
different.
I would much rather be locked in the shop and not
Yes.
talk to anybody.
I don't know how
and
Jason gets anything
I feel like I should get down to more beats and eats and try to make it to more functions. And
I
stuff
agree.
And set up a table and all that. But like, I think it was Joe Ellis said on here that I need some social buffers.
She
somebody
did
to
say that.
stand up.
That's why she's got board members. They deal with
That's
people.
true. You need some board members.
Exactly. Maybe I just need to start something.
Your kids need to grow up a little faster and do it for you.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, goodness.
Vibrating. Hey, you're not drawing a picture this time.
I'm so sorry. My Apple Pencil apparently got lodged on the iPad the wrong direction. It is 0 charge.
0 charge.
I'm sorry.
It's going to happen, just not right
I'm
now.
going to take your picture. I'm going to draw you later.
You know, it's crazy. I didn't even realize that until
Yeah.
you said something.
I realized
Ben's
that
like,
my phone
what is
vibrated.
going on here?
Yeah.
He's not
On
drawing.
this fancy technology, he was drawing it in his head. Right?
Yep, that's what I'm doing.
So the things you brought with you also, you
Yeah.
brought a knife. Explain the knife as if you
So-
couldn't see it, because
All right.
people listening can't.
So I have.
I'm
for
gonna
the
go
last
grab it for
3
the
years
video.
Now,
Okay, yeah. We'll show. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. We're going to show it right now. As long as I don't delete the footage accidentally like I did once. Oops.
I've done the Best of Show award for the Officer Will McGarry Memorial Car Show for about 3 years now, and this year it's forged out of a 1-inch snap-on wrench. I'm pretty sure it was 1 inch.
Snap-on.
So
Oh, you went
Snap-on,
all out
yeah,
on the
exactly.
Snap-on. Okay.
Man, that ain't no Sears here.
Right there. Right there.
So already, but just melted down. It
It's-
was Snap-on, and it was already $1,000.
Uh-huh.
And then he went and made a knife out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I've made a little dagger. It's kind of a boot knife for the Best of Show award for this year. Yeah,
And you left the... what's
yeah,
the end part?
the box end of the wrench.
Yeah.
On there. Yeah,
Which
and
is
then
really cool.
the officer who the foundation was started after he passed away is Officer Will McGarry. His badge number was 474, so we've got that engraved with the badge and wings on the handle. And I brought the poster so I could see the date. I'm not sure what it is, but it'll be the same time as Get Down Downtown.
Oh,
Yeah, the car show.
27th, 28th?
Yeah.
I don't know. Brian's getting the paper, so we'll look at it. Explain a little bit about how you make something like this.
Yeah, so the date on that, September 28th, Get Down Downtown in Cersei. If you have a classic car or know somebody who does, come out. Good cause.
That's right. You
Yes.
won't be there, but...
That's right. But my knife
But
will.
your knife
and you
The
can
knife will
wear
be
it.
there. Cool cars. Maybe Jason White.
Yeah,
Not Casey Arms.
So this was a snap-on wrench, and I cut it off. There was probably 4 inches of material coming off the box end. And then I have a thing called a guillotine fuller, and you see like where these 2 dimples come down? It's basically 2 blades that come together. So I stuck the wrench in there and made a dimple here, and a dimple here. That's one right behind the box end, and one for a handguard section, and then for the base of the blade.
Is that a machine that plugs in, or these
No,
are
this is
all
a-
your machines are
It's all
hand
hammered.
done?
Yeah.
which
It's like
is
a
insane.
hand press.
So I have on your anvil, you have a square hole on the back side of the anvil opposite of the horn.
I've seen that.
And it's called a Hardy hole, and it's
Okay.
basically a tool holder.
Okay.
So this tool sits in there, and it's got a rigid portion on the bottom and a part that slides up and down on top.
Okay.
You open it, slide the material in, and that rests on there. Then you hit it, and it makes these.
Just
pinch
slam
points.
it down in
yeah.
there.
Yeah, exactly. So it basically
Okay.
just establishes boundaries for you. So you
Okay.
establish the handle and the blade, the partition between them. So probably an hour, hour and a half of actually heating and hammering on this, and then a good 3 hours of filing, sanding, polishing to get it shined back up, and then about 2 hours for the engraving on it.
This engraving, describe how you engrave this, because for me, I'd be doing it with a robot, and you are doing it with a
Laser.
little hand.
Yeah, so as a
Hand mallet or
traditionalist, I have to keep it as traditional as possible, you know, to feel justified in charging what I charge for my work, etc.
Uh-huh.
But this engraving is done with a 1/8-inch square shank of super high carbon steel that's ground to basically a V point on the end with an angled face, and I use a tiny little hammer. It's called a chasing hammer, and you lay it on your drawn line and just follow the line, and it cuts out a little V-shaped
Okay, so
groove.
you do draw the line on first.
Yes,
With
absolutely. I use a fine tip Sharpie.
what? Really? You go straight at it with Sharpie first. Like there's no
Yeah.
pencil.
I mean,
Okay.
it's metal. I guess you would have to. Yeah.
Like if I'm doing some super fine engraving, like where it has to be really intricate, I'll paint it white with like water-based paint, let the
Okay.
paint dry, and then sharpen a mechanical pencil to like a needle point and use magnifiers and draw it on there first, and then engrave it. If you
That's awesome.
I can't even imagine
Nah,
sharpening
that
a
is
mechanical pencils
awesome.
and using magnifiers. That's
Very
Can
nice.
can you give us some videos of you doing some of these things, and we'll post it to the Build Guild
Absolutely.
Instagram.
Yeah.
So if you're listening,
Have somebody
you can
just
see- well,
for a minute or
if
two.
you don't
Have them
have
hang
this-
over your shoulder,
Yeah.
watching you do that. We need to see it happen.
So Jason White actually spoke to him yesterday, I think it was.
Oh.
And we've been talking for years about we need to build up our social media and make more posts and put more content out, all that. So we've kind of made a pledge to each other that we're going to start going to the other's work area like every other week or two and spending an hour or two filming the other one.
Nice.
That is
Yeah.
awesome.
Accountability.
A dream
That
come
is a
true.
great
Have
idea.
a cameraman.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get Ben to do that for me.
I have to do it for
I
myself.
hope we do
But-
it. 'Cause so
but
far
no,
we've
he
done
just keeps
nothing
doing
but
it for
talk for
himself.
3.5
Yeah.
Talk with Jason. Are you
He was
serious?
actually supposed to come out to do his filming for me this morning, but I had an aunt come in from Mississippi that was going to come visit, and I knew that would take all day, so
Yeah.
I rescheduled. So I blew off the first one, but we're going to make it happen.
Yeah.
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 And you have a
Keep with it.
YouTube channel,
I do, yeah.
but there's no videos on it?
I think there's 2.
There's 2? What
Yeah.
are they?
Oh goodness,
You don't know.
I really don't. It's been 3.5 years, man.
This is awesome. So
I am the least tech savvy
Yeah.
guy you have ever met.
I don't know.
Y'all
I
should come see
I
my
think-
shop.
I think-
I
yeah,
desperately want to
absolutely.
come see your shop.
what I
Yes.
really want to do is I really want to collab on something
I'd
with
love
you,
to. I'd
and
love
then
to.
we could film that and we
Yes.
could post it to.
I'll come
Man.
and film it.
Any
Oh,
kind
you'll
of-
come
part.
film that
I'll come
one.
film the
Oh, okay.
collab,
Yeah,
yeah.
Ben will
Okay.
come film that one. But
Alright.
he won't come and film
And
it.
not just for you.
Yeah,
though.
but not
Yeah,
just for me.
it'll
That
be on
makes
my
me
channel.
feel warm
Yeah,
and fuzzy
I
anyway.
bet. Yeah, I could. Man, that'd be awesome.
I'm totally down.
Just-
What do you want to make?
I don't know. We'll find a good cause. We'll build something and donate it.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I like to donate stuff as much as
I do
can.
too. And that's why I'm broke.
Exactly.
You don't
I
find
know, and I'm a sucker for it too.
I know, man. If there's a good
It
cause.
must
like,
be in the face. I don't
I
know.
don't
No,
know.
you don't find
that.
that donating things or giving of your time does not pay itself back
I'm sure.
multiple
it does.
fold.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Somehow,
It
I'm
does.
Yeah.
sure. I always
No.
see that somehow.
I mean, the only reason I got on the show, that was picked is because of when I first started doing this. It was just building tables for foster families that needed larger tables,
Oh really?
uh-huh.
and so I mean, basically everything that I was doing, not only did it help me like hone my gifts and talents because I was able to just build stuff and give it away, you know, wait for
They
people
can't
to buy
return
it.
something that's
Yeah.
free. Wait, we don't want
Yeah,
this.
you know what? Yeah, that never happened. Luckily, it should have, but it never did.
100% satisfaction. That's what it is.
But yeah, but I think that for me, that's one of the things. It was doing things like that. But yeah, you throw kids in the mix, and
Oh,
like
yes.
if it's a good cause, I'm probably gonna donate to it.
Yeah.
And so
I'll go out of my way to show a kid how to do something or let them come see the shop or whatever, because we need to encourage that
Absolutely.
so much.
Especially nowadays, because I
Yes.
think college is overrated, and I
Yeah.
went to a lot of it.
you're still paying for
I'm gonna
it.
pay for it till I die, but there's so much
Yeah.
need for hands-on things. We've
Absolutely.
lost it,
Yeah.
and
Like I didn't go to public school, so I don't know how like shop class and all that works.
Brian didn't
anymore.
either.
Well,
Just you
a couple
hand in hand.
years.
Oh, you did?
On and
Oh,
off.
Ooh.
8th grade a few times.
No,
Great.
no, it was very early on, and then I got caught building bear traps in the woods at
Oh,
recess,
awesome.
and Mom pulled me out. So yeah,
You
So-
weirdo.
I know, right?
You could have been building them professionally.
I know.
We should have collaborated.
He could have made metal bear traps
Yeah.
in his backyard Chevelle Forge.
Yeah,
Chevette.
there were no cars
Oh,
lying around
Chevette.
for me to tear
Very
apart.
different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I'd
was
say.
definitely
Yeah.
a different car.
Yeah. Well, you just say vet. Just cut it off
Yeah,
with vet.
yeah.
Just tell people, I drive a
Shit.
vet.
Yeah. Here's to homeschools.
Absolutely. If I hadn't been homeschooled and been able to be done in high school with my schoolwork for the day by 10 a.m., 11 a.m., you had a set amount of lessons. You do it, you get it done, you're done. And then I could go out and play in the shop all day, and I did,
I mean, it's stuff like that just, if you do homeschooling right, it makes an excellent argument. Time management, teacher to student ratio,
Right.
flexibility. I mean,
Yeah.
basic.
Yep.
Come on, Ben. Come on, get with. No?
I mean,
I'm not
And
opposed
I feel
to
like I had so
homeschooling.
much more
No,
opportunity because of the time
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
I'm opposed to being the teacher.
Yeah, I know.
That's
I figured.
the
Well,
main
no,
issue.
I
I would be like, oh, I can't stand teaching you
my
anymore.
wife is the one who is teaching our daughters right now, not me.
yeah.
Ironically,
So
I now work in a public school as a teacher.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
I tried to talk my wife into homeschooling my oldest, but she said no, I'll kill him. So.
Okay. Well, I mean, if it's a life and death situation.
Was she a homeschooler?
No, she's
okay.
public school.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the way.
Okay.
Can we learn a little bit behind the scenes of TV
Absolutely.
stuff? Tell us behind the scenes that we don't know. I watched all of your season. It was called Iron and Fire.
Mm-hmm.
Can you still watch it now?
Yeah, I think you can find it on Hulu is one of them.
It's
and
on Hulu? Okay.
Cool.
On YouTube, and you can actually go to History Channel and like buy it somehow from there and watch all of it there.
Do you make any money from that? I guess
Not a darn thing.
you've made no money from the
Well, I
TV
mean,
show.
we were paid per episode.
You were
to film.
per
There's
episode.
no
But
like
no
ongoing
royalties.
royalties. Every time we talk to somebody, that's the way it is. Like
They're
there
like-
is no money in
So
television.
I was told,
It's everything afterward, or the
laughingly,
merchandise.
I guess.
like when I said, "Well, what about royalties?" Because I knew nothing about
Right,
any
for
of it.
sure.
And
I don't
handed
know
you
anything.
A 40-page contract to sign.
Oh
with
my gosh.
Lots of big words, So you're like, "Wow, do I get royalties or something?" And they almost like laughed. And they said that doesn't even become a conversation until the second or third season.
Okay.
So I don't know.
And there's
if
only
that's
one
true or
season
not.
for y'all, right?
Yeah, we did
How many?
one season, 12 episodes.
There was a pretty good amount for a first season.
Yeah, that was a crazy, crazy time. Like, we had a dozen people in my front yard with like 2 little pod storage buildings. One was the office, one was camera gear. And they showed up depending on what we were doing that day, either 4 a.m. or 6 a.m.
my
and we were there
gosh.
from 12 to 16 hours a day for almost 9 months. We would do 2 weeks on, 1 week off, or sometimes 3 weeks on, 1 week off.
for 9
And-
months.
Yes.
Weekends as well, like
Yeah.
7 days straight. You're cranking.
And I mean, Sundays, almost always, we took Sundays off.
Okay.
But it was go, 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 go,
That
go.
is insane.
Was
And for 1 week of filming, you might film, let's say 12 hours a day. They might get a 30-minute episode out of it.
yeah,
So,
right. Well,
I
here, watch me
learned a
file
lot.
for 4 hours. Okay.
And
Speed this up. Time lapse it.
Time lapse
We got
it.
20 seconds. Okay.
you learn how valuable B-roll is really fast.
Cody had to. They came back and did it after
Yeah,
they
they
finished
needed
filming.
more
They're like, oh
B-roll.
wait, we don't
Yeah.
have enough.
Yeah, they were like, this guy was boring the entire 4
Yeah,
months that
that's-
we did.
that's what it
and
was.
So now we got to come back and do it again, and yeah, that's how you know my episode's gonna be, top notch, whatever.
I can't wait to see it, all of it. I had nothing to do with all the Cersei Revolution thing. It was up on my mountain in Romance.
There you go.
Yeah,
I didn't
Oh, you
either
live in
until
Romance?
Co-
that's awesome. That's where my aunt lives.
Cool.
Yeah,
They're probably
love
family
it up
somehow.
yeah, I probably live close by. I don't know. Probably, I don't know. I started. So they have like cattle farm up there,
Okay.
and this is. I don't even know if I want to tell this story,
Uh-oh.
but
About the cattle farm?
no, it's about. So there's like the round hay bales.
Uh-huh.
I was playing matches as a kid.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, about burnt down romance.
That would only take about 15
Yeah,
minutes.
15. That's what I said. That's what I said. Like I almost burned it down. So yeah.
That's your romance memory. there.
Romance,
Yeah,
Arkansas,
right, like,
almost a casualty. Then he went off and joined the army.
Yeah. I was like, look. Yep.
When they paid you without, you don't have to give away how much, but if you were strictly getting paid to make the TV show, would it be worth it if you weren't selling anything else? Like, were you able to negotiate what you're paid? It's like, this is what you're getting paid, this is what you're getting paid. You're lucky you're getting anything at all.
Oh.
Whatever.
It's actually funny. I probably shot myself in the foot, but when they came, they said, okay, we want to pay you this much per episode, and it was substantial. And then your little brother and your nephew this much, and then my parents, we would like go over there and shoot guns or build stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
So they were going to pay them to use their property, etc., etc. And I said, I don't know, that's kind of low. I said, let's pay my nephew and my little brother this much, and I want to raise mine at this much, and do my parents this much. And he said, okay, and started changing it. And I'm going,
Should have gone
So,
there.
okay, right away.
Well, that was easy.
So, I have no idea if I did well or not.
Yeah.
But we were able to, from what we made doing the show, we built our own house. And,
That was part of the
Okay.
show at the end.
Yeah.
Didn't you add on, like, double? Your house was tiny.
well, that was kind of TV magic there. It was actually a mobile home. It looked like a little log cabin. It had
Okay.
porches built around it. And when we bought the property, that was on it. And that was the plan from the beginning, is live in that while we build the house. So it's a completely separate house.
Ah,
and the one
okay.
we were in is gone now.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so basically from the show, I was able to build our house. And then from the results of the show, I've made a living for 3.5
Yeah.
years. So
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
how staged was your show? Or I mean, you're obviously making orders where they say just make whatever you're making, and
so
then
sometimes
we'll film
a
it?
customer doesn't want his name and address to be on national television of where this knife or rifle or whatever is going. So sometimes we, wouldn't say who it was for, or make up a story about the order because the customer didn't want to be publicized. But I like to say that we had the most real reality show ever made, because I told them from day one, the day that we were going to turn it into a fairy tale, I'm out. Like, if we can keep it real, let's make a show. If not, I'm not an actor.
Yeah.
Like, let's keep it real. So I really think we did. The main annoying part was if the camera guy forgot to push record, or the sound guy forgot to push the sound, you might have to do something 3 times in a row.
Or somebody deleted the
Or 4
YouTube
times.
That makes me
footage.
feel better.
Yeah, professionals do that.
Professionals do it.
Like,
Did you ever have to like do something that like you probably wouldn't
yes.
do, but just
Yes.
because it would make
An embellishment of your working.
Yeah, like, for instance, the network, which is history, kind of owns the production from the way that I saw it during the filming of the show. And there's constantly somebody uploading data and sending it to the network as we're filming it. And the network would come back and be like, the episode's awesome, but there's no drama. We need a cliffhanger somewhere. And so they'd be like, okay, what's something we could do to make it more exciting? I'd be like, well, I don't know. One time this pair of tongs broke right as I was doing this forge weld. So we'd, come up with something to make the network happy for a cliffhanger or whatever it may be. And the network always wanted you to say crazy lines, like as filler for the background, because I narrated and
That's right.
did the work.
they ever do anything like, oh man, that Pepsi really sounds
So no, that was actually crazy to me. They were religious about putting tape over. If you had something
no
on your
brands,
shirt, on the wheelbarrow, across the yard.
No
the
product
Chevy
placement
emblem,
at all, huh?
Everything.
Well, they'd
They
have to
covered
pay
it,
royalties to
covered
all
it.
those people
Oh, okay.
probably to show it on TV.
Is that how that works?
I
don't know.
guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
Either that or the company
Or
they
is
ain't
getting
paying
free
them.
advertising.
Right, and they don't
through
wanna
them,
provide
and they
that.
don't want to give that
Yeah.
away.
Okay.
Yeah, like for us, it was different. Like all the tools that the Lux and the Small Business Revolution paid for my new
okay.
space. One of the big things is, like, we got some discounts on some of the tools because they're like, we will show
Yeah.
your
I see.
your stuff.
Yep.
Sweet deal.
Because if not, like, they're they ain't paying us to show it. We're not gonna advertise them. I was like, makes sense.
Okay.
In my tiny shop, Saw Stop, the table saw behind me, they gave me a discount and said, you can't cover up our label for 2 years. But if you have a Saw Stop, it's like having a Lamborghini.
Yeah, for real.
Like, why would I
Like,
cover up the
I
Saw?
can
I'm
live
really
with
proud
that.
of it. I can do that. That's okay.
Yeah.
It's funny.
And you were like, well, I guess we
that
can
one
do it that way.
Like, you can stick your finger in it.
Well, you could try. I'd like to see
Don't.
it happen, but
No,
yeah.
Ben
Stop
wanted
it.
to try. I told him
Yeah.
not to.
It's got a break. You can see the cartridge is kind of over there.
The brick, yeah.
If you touch the saw and while it's spinning, it's electronically knows because of I think moisture in your finger. It detects some moisture, and you stop on an electronic circuit.
Yeah, it breaks some kind
and
of
it
electric
shoots a
field.
gas, and it shoots that thing up into the saw blade, and it stops it within like 0.0001 milliseconds,
Wow.
something like that. It's amazing. Haven't ever tried it. I hope I never do.
Yeah, don't do it.
Absolutely.
No, see, I got one too, just because the goal for organic is to, like, later on, like, hire kids that are aging out of the foster care system, just because of the employment rate for them is ridiculously low. Most of it's due to their trauma. Like, business owners and managers, they don't know how to really deal that,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but my goal is to, like, kind of hire them on, just teach them small, like, just soft skills, work ethic. And so most of them probably will never have worked with a table saw.
Right.
So having a table saw with that feature was a must.
That's a good call right there.
It doesn't matter. Like I agree, but like there are some days where I'm like, I have a digital angle finder, so I wanted to get perfect at 0 because I was changing from like 45 or something, and it's magnet.
Did
so
you
I
leave it
magnet
on the
there,
blade?
turn the blade on.
my God.
But
Oh my
it tripped
goodness.
it. It didn't throw the blade, but it knew, the machine knew like something's not right, and it didn't turn it on, and it made a loud pop, and I'm like, ooh. But if it wasn't for that thing would have went flying
Yes.
right into me, and I'm like, okay.
Blast off.
I did something similar to that in a machine shop one time. my boss had told me, do you know what an indicator is? It's a dial with a needle that
Oh,
goes in and out.
yeah. Yeah.
He told me to put the indicator in the chuck of the milling machine and turn it to see what the table needed adjustment.
Yeah.
Well, when he said turn it, my brain said turn it on. And I did. And this thing is set at like 12,000 RPMs or whatever. And that dial flew off and hit me in the chest and like knocked me across the shop.
Ouch.
Bad.
Didn't
Really
go
bad.
into you. I'd worry
No,
like
it was
it's
like
a
a
bullet
perfect
coming.
round purple spot on my chest. And so
Gosh.
it's one of those hard-learned lessons.
Yeah, pain. It's a good teacher.
At the end of your show, it was basically slow-mo shooting guns and blowing things up. Like every single episode was. How much of that is like, okay,
He lives in romance.
In
so
the
it's
beginning
pretty
of
much
this-
life for them.
at the
Right?
end of my show, I'm slow-mo shooting everything.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, how did that come about? Or it's
So I
just
think that-
naturally.
There was already a whole lot of redneck appeal to the show, but that sealed the deal.
Yeah.
That was just like a way to test the guns that it's not a boring okay, he built another gun, let's go shoot it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they would go to grocery stores all over the area and get expired stuff. You name it. Old, they got it, and we shot it. I can't tell you how many. Actually, I didn't fire all of them, but between my nephew, my little brother, and myself, we fired over 2,200 rounds during the filming of the show.
Wow.
All
Wow.
from flintlock muzzleloading rifles
Yeah.
or pistols.
Man.
Did any of the people who worked there buy anything from you?
Yes, one of our cameramen got a really nice pistol, and our sound man got a knife from my little brother. And I think another cameraman has talked about scheduling a class this fall, which is 3.5 years later. We still have a relationship.
That's
with him,
awesome.
so.
Are they local or are they...
No, so they're kind of all subcontractors scattered out. Several of them were from the Los Angeles area. One was from Kansas City. One was from Kentucky. So they were pretty, like Half Yard Productions. It was the production company, and then they hire all of their crew, and they come to
Okay.
at your place.
That's the same way with yours?
Yeah.
Are they from everywhere?
Picture Box was the company.
Right.
And then most are from like Texas and the Austin area.
Okay.
But then there were some from New York.
It seems like
that
most
subbed
crews
out.
that I've been around are built from kind of freelance
Yeah.
guys,
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of how this was too, as well. Now, I have talked to Jake Reeves.
Mhm.
Now, is there possibility of another show in the future for
there is.
Casey Arms?
Yes.
You have some
yes.
web stuff, right? There were some web TV things.
Oh yeah, so I did an appearance on a streaming online channel called Carbon TV. The series was called Heartlandia, and I just did an episode of it.
Okay.
And then I was also on Forged in Fire, season 5 episode.
You
5.
were on that.
Yeah.
I thought you were. I have not seen that.
Did you
though.
win?
Second place.
Second place?
That's not.
Man.
So no, I didn't.
How did you get on that one? Did they know the show and they just like, well, we'll
So
pull
no,
from
a
this
friend
guy?
of
or-
mine had been on it and knew that they were looking for new contestants for an upcoming season, and kind of put us in contact with each other.
Okay.
Cool.
That was quite an experience. Redneck's first time in New York, all kinds.
It's in New York then.
Yeah, the
Oh.
studio
So,
is like downtown.
Did you get to
Manhattan.
take your wife with you?
No.
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 Man, my wife would have been like, "Yeah, I'm going."
Second place would mean they came back and filmed you versus another
Yep.
guy at the end, right?
Yep.
And it,
So they come
is
back.
that was that real? Like you literally left for a week and came back in that week, or was there
So-
a big long production of that kind of deal?
You do your initial, first 2 challenges, and then whoever gets eliminated, the 2 guys go back to their own shop, and then you come back and they test those 2 weapons. So I made it all the way to that final testing.
Yeah. But was it within a week?
Oh
or
no!
Did it,
So yeah, when you fly back from New York after the first 2 rounds, 6 a.m. the next morning, you got jet lag, everything else. There's a film crew in your.
there,
front
oh,
row.
that was
Yeah.
legit then.
Jeez.
And
Okay.
so then you have, I think it was 5 days that we had at like 10 hours a day to build the sword that we built, and then they package your knife or sword or whatever and ship it back to the studio, and then it's like, I think I waited 2 weeks or something
Okay.
before I went back to finish.
Yeah.
For them to do the final test.
Did yours cut?
Oh, it cut. It
will
killed.
cut.
It looked good, but they said the handle wasn't big enough. That was what lost me 10 grand. Was the
The
handle?
handle.
handle wasn't big
Yeah,
enough.
and it wasn't big enough.
And out of that 10 grand, how much would you actually take home? Like
I
2?
don't know.
Because the taxes kill
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was worth a shot. You don't
Oh,
win
no.
by not trying.
But that puts you out there again. Your
it
name
did.
and
It did. We got a good bit more business from that.
for sure.
Good.
So yeah, back to your question.
Yeah, sorry I jumped in there. I
No,
knew there was
that's
some
cool.
extra
Thanks a lot, Ben.
TV appearances there.
There is a great possibility of a new show. I wish I could let you have more information, but I don't really want to mention the network because I've signed contracts, we've signed an agreement, but the way that this particular network works is that they agree to air your show according to the content that we've presented to them that we want to make, but you have to find your own sponsorship.
Oh.
So our
Yeah.
executive producer is a lady that is in the process. I think she's like talked to Quicken Loans and Walmart and Carhartt, a few people like that.
Oh,
And we just haven't had anybody take a big bite yet because it's a big old check to write. And
I'll send you a check.
all right,
from his organic earnings.
It's hot. It's hot.
Cash it
It's
on
really
cash it
not
on the
that
third of the month.
Wait till Monday.
yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, but that is cool, and yeah.
I
hope
hope
that
it
happens.
happens.
Would that be
would
just
great.
focused on you? Can you
So,
share that?
Yeah,
Mel?
I can give you basically what we have in mind is I'm going to build a traditional style log cabin on my property for students to stay in whenever they come and take classes. And the way that we're going to do it is, for instance, I would go to North Carolina and collaborate with an old gentleman who specializes in forging axes. And he and I would forge an axe together and then come back with that axe, fell the trees that we need for the cabin.
Ah,
And then
okay.
I would also go collaborate with a glass blower in Branson to make the glass for the windows. Go collaborate with a guy that's traditional chair maker. He has chairs in the Smithsonian to make chairs for the cabin. Have a
Whoa.
stonemason come in and build the fireplace. And like
That
my mom
sounds
is in a quilting
awesome.
group. Have her and her quilting ladies make traditional quilts for the bunks. And,
Do you need a
Yeah.
table?
we might just do that.
Do you need a table?
Well, he is a TV star too.
Yeah.
He's got that resume.
I got you. I've been on TV.
Dude, tell
been on
Jake
TV.
that.
I know
'cause
what,
we
babe.
we
I know-
actually need, I think, they're wanting 13 episodes, and I think we only have like 11.
So
collaborators.
I've talked to Jake, and so we're building the conference room
Okay.
in my studio, and he was kind of just needing a place to like go to like do some stuff. And I was like, man, just come to the studio, like go to the conference room. Nobody's in there, like you can use it. And so, but anyways, we were talking, and that's where that came up.
Very cool.
But yeah, dude, I want to build a table
Alright.
for the cabin.
He's
Table
caught-
man.
You've
Do
caught
it.
the TV bug.
Are you gonna do it
Huh?
all
Do
with
it.
hand planes? and
Yeah,
hand
that's
planes?
Yeah.
you have to do it by hand though.
Yeah, I'll do it.
That's
I got
traditional.
yeah, my Wood River planes
Yes,
that
you are
I got
very
from
proud of those.
Woodcraft. I am very proud of
Yes,
those.
you are.
Those
I
things
love
are
Woodcraft.
they are so man. Those planes are sexy. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
I
Have
got-
you ever heard of Lee Nielsen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't afford it, but yeah, I've heard of it.
I bought the little sharpening jig. though.
I got the Veritas sharpening jig, and that thing is
Nice.
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
Sure.
it is.
I did have it
It's
over
now.
here.
Yeah, no.
Brian, you're going to a convention this weekend.
No, it's next weekend.
You're going to a convention next weekend.
Next
Tell us a
weekend.
little about the convention.
Huh?
It's not TV show worthy,
It's
but
not. No, it's down in Hot Springs. It's called SpaCon. Because Spock. Never mind. Anyway, it's down in Hot Springs.
is that Star Wars?
No! Oh my gosh! Shut up! You did that on purpose. It's SpaCon in Hot Springs. It's a sci-fi convention, and I've been to it twice before, and it's a good place to sell my stuff.
And
Stuff
so you
sells,
go as a
so.
vendor
Yeah, I go as a vendor and occasionally in costume,
in costume.
but not this year.
Are you going dressed as an Ewok?
Not as an Ewok. No.
What were you
Too
before?
tall. I
What
was
were your
an
previous
NCR
costumes?
veteran ranger from Fallout New Vegas.
From a video game.
Yes.
It was a good video game, and it
Yes,
was a great
it was.
costume.
It's a good costume. I had
Thank
no
you.
idea.
Did
that
you not
what
know?
it was from? But
Oh.
I thought it looked good.
Tell me about the helmet you made.
It
Tell
was,
the process that you made of the helmet.
I mean, it was Pepicura and it took forever.
Pepicura is what? I just learned what Pepicura
Oh, did-
is,
Yeah,
and
I
it
don't
blows
have
my
no-
mind.
Okay,
idea.
I'm sorry. This was prior to me owning a 3D printer. Prior to Ben owning a 3D printer. It's a paper template, essentially, that you print out and cut out and fold up and super glue together. But I mean, it's like origami from Hades. There are so many folds.
It is a
and
million
cuts. It's
folds. When you look at the
ridiculous.
paper coming out, it is
Right.
like
Oh,
this
wow.
big, and there's
So
50
you
million
exacto
folds.
it open and you super glue it together, and then is the fun process of fiberglassing it and bondoing it and sanding
it's-
your life away until you have no fingerprints left, and then you paint it. So it took a while.
But
I built it from scratch. I did it all with my hands.
It is
yes.
legit.
And
So it's
I'm
like
proud
beefed
of it.
up paper mache.
Yes.
That's what I was
Exactly.
going to say.
That's
It's like
what-
you build a paper mache base in fiberglass.
It is the next level paper mache.
I told you that's what you
Nice.
do all day. It's
That's
cool.
not what I do all day.
Did you do
What
that?
was the name of it again?
The costume itself,
No, the process.
it's called Pepicura,
Pepicure.
or Pep Files for short.
Yeah, they exist everywhere. Like Iron
It's
Man,
all over the
Iron
internet.
Man's
Oh, they got
number one.
Pepicura files for every suit of armor
You
from
can
any
print
movie,
out
any franchise under the
Whole
sun.
Iron Man suit and fold it up in
Wow.
paper.
Good grief.
Yep.
Awesome stuff.
Crazy.
Take
But
you-
now that we have 3D printers, my next challenge is to actually learn Fusion and print this stuff out.
print a helmet.
Yep.
Be cool.
Yep.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to SpaCon.
Let's
Always
hope
a
you.
great time.
Let's hope you sell something.
I'll sell something. Just tell me what to put in the back, out of
Yeah,
sight, and I'll put that in
Tell
the
you
front,
what's not
and it
going
will
to sell,
sell.
and that'll be the only thing
That's
that's
how it works.
Speaking of vendors, do you do anything as far as vendors? I know we talked about, like, it'd be nice for you to do a thing down for Beats and Eats or whatever.
Yeah.
But do you have any thoughts now that you're about to get caught up? Have you had any invitations to like big events, like not just like here in Cersei, which is a big event, but like I'm saying, where people saw the show and were like, we need to invite this guy out to, well, I don't know.
So initially we had a lot of people contact us about possibilities, like the NRA. Actually, I was supposed to talk about speaking at the NRA, but I'm not a big speak in front of a crowd kind of guy, so
Yeah.
I walked away from that. But there is
Well,
a
you're
big
doing a
show,
great job right now.
But there's not 1,000
Three
people
other guys in this
Yeah,
room.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I think I could take you guys. No.
I just
So-
swing a hammer all day. It's not a big deal.
Knives
There's a
right in
show
front of
in
him.
Lexington, Kentucky. It's put on by the Contemporary Long Rifle Association, and it's all contemporary builders like myself. I try to make it to that one every year, and it is a great place for me to get fresh ideas and look at other people's work, and get out and meet, greet, shake hands, because that's my crowd of builders there. But besides that, as far as say local gun shows, you have to spend the entire time explaining to somebody why this knife is worth $300 and the one on the table next to him from Pakistan is only worth $14. What's the difference between these two knives? They want to know, So that was discouraging for me early on, trying to go to gun shows and have to fight for your price on everything. So I don't do a lot of shows. I'd love to find an outlet to where it was more artsy, to where they could appreciate the value, the craftsmanship, and I wouldn't have to be trying to convince them that it was worth what it's worth.
That's kind of been where I'm at. Like there's a lot of vendor places where I could be a vendor, right? Especially for like stuff like the cutting boards,
Right.
small stuff that I do. But it's like if it's not a festival where people have to pay tickets to get inside, I don't want to be there, because I want people to like be, I don't know, invested already in what they're about to experience, and not just
Every time I've ever done it, $0.
yeah.
Really?
Brian will sell. We'll do it together. It's like 3 different shows. Now they're around here or in Newport or whatever. Zero. Absolute waste of my entire. I said never again. I can do this on Etsy, and you're a little different though. You're selling weapons. You have to be a weapon. You have to have a license for that or something.
Well,
like
if you
a cutting
deal
board.
with any modern firearms, you have to have a FFL, a federal firearms license. But the rules for FFL do not apply to muzzleloaders in the building and repairing aspect of them, anyways.
Okay.
So no, I don't have to have any special licensing to do that.
Okay, nice. And it does crossing borders.
Well, I mean, international borders. I
Crossing
don't know,
local
but,
border. Let's just say the
like,
local borders.
State law, you
laws are
don't
good?
really have much issue at all.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
So this is all you do as far as firearms. You do flintlock muzzle loading.
Yeah,
rifles.
I mean, I do build percussion as well, where you use a percussion cap.
Okay.
But my specialty is flintlock. Muzzleloading.
Okay.
Weapons.
And I'm sorry,
Style.
percussion is like more Civil War era.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, this is more Revolutionary
Right.
War.
And
French
just for anyone listening and not watching, like, because right now weapons and rifles are just a big hot topic, and like people are probably gonna lose their minds going, this guy can just build a gun. The gun he's building, I promise you, ain't nobody spending $12,000 to try to go shoot up a Walmart. And
You ain't gonna do it
and
quick.
you ain't gonna do it quick. And if you turn it wrong, the powder falls out, and then you're just screwed.
Well, I was going to say, so this is the sort of thing, like from the era of the Revolutionary War,
Absolutely.
where you are pouring in the powder, putting
A patch.
the wad and the ball, ramming it down with the rod.
That is correct.
Okay, so maximum reload time for one of these, like
If
these
you're
Minutemen in
good-
the war.
Yeah, Minuteman is a good term. If
Okay.
you know what you're doing, you can be successfully reloaded in 60 seconds. But
Wow.
that's for somebody that's really...
But if you're out like
Right.
this and you sneeze,
Yeah.
Right.
oh no.
Well,
that's really... I mean, people hunt with these. I have people that elk hunt in
Sure.
Idaho with these, in
Sure.
Utah, and take out elk at 80 and 100 yards. You know, they
Oh,
are
wow.
a formidable weapon, but they're by no means are they semi-automatic. They're
Mm.
definitely not any type of an offensive weapon in
Mm.
our day and
Yeah.
time. You know,
No.
Yeah.
they're for people. It's almost like hunting with a self bow or a long bow. You know, I compare it to bow hunting because with flintlock you have to hold through your shot just like on a bow, because there's 0.8 of a second of difference between the time you pull the trigger, the sparks hit the pan, light the powder, goes through the touch hole into the barrel, and your projectile is discharged. You know, so it takes skill to use it. It's not something that you just go grab off the shelf and go out and kill a deer with. You know, you've got to learn it and appreciate it.
That would be. It's basically an art form in itself. Like you're just enjoying the process, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not a hunter, so I've never
Yeah.
I've never been hunting once in my life.
Really.
No, I didn't. I grew up with concrete
Yeah.
alleys.
Yeah.
It's not not
I don't know.
hunting.
And you know, even a lot of people that don't hunt, like people, I want people to use them, to hunt with them, to get some blood on a knife that I'm making for them. Not in a bad way. I'm talking about skinning in a game animal.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
a lot of people buy them and hang them on the wall. And as long as I get paid at the end of the day,
Wow.
it doesn't
Yeah,
make a
that's
difference.
true.
to me, you know? But that blows my mind.
Yeah,
You
I'm having a
invest
hard
that
time
and
with that,
not
too.
Play with it. you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you want handmade,
Yeah. But like this
Quality.
rifle, for instance, the gentleman came to me. He's a chiropractor out of Little Rock. And he said, when I die, I'm going to leave my kids money and they're going to spend it. I want to leave them something they can't spend.
Huh.
And so
Wow.
that's why we're building this rifle.
and that's why it's taken, what'd you say, 3?
Well, when I say it's taken 3
Years.
years, that's not every second of working on this
Sure,
rifle. It's
but
putting
the
out
process
parts.
from him approaching you to where we are now,
Yeah.
what kind of wood is this?
So this is called curly maple or tiger stripe maple.
Okay.
And I use a homemade stain that I make from nitric acid, and I dissolve iron into it, and it has a 3D effect when you stain it. The curl in the wood pops out, and it almost looks like
I noticed
tiger
that.
eye.
Yeah,
the
because
rock.
now the curling is like that. It's almost like a spalted color.
Yes,
It's like
yes.
it's a
Okay.
gray.
And that piece of wood right there, when I ordered it, it was 4 inches thick,
Okay.
about 12 inches wide, and almost 6 foot long. And then, you know, you cut your rough silhouette of the stock out
Okay.
and start inletting your parts. Just that chunk of wood was $1,000.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Curly maple is
Are you buying it
stupid
locally?
expensive.
No, I get most of it out of Virginia, Ohio,
Huh.
Tennessee, like east of us. They have a lot better quality, it seems like, of curl. And especially on a gun of this caliber, no pun intended, but just the price range, you know.
Right.
I told him that if you want to build a beautiful gun, we don't have to bedazzle it. Let's start with a fine piece of wood and
The
let
wood
the
can
wood do the talking.
abs-
Yeah,
Man after my own heart.
What
Yeah.
caliber
That's
is
awesome.
this one? Is it a 30?
that is a 50.
It's a 50?
Man,
Tis
it
it
is.
Is that most of what you do? 50 caliber?
So
muzzle
actually,
loading?
the most common caliber that I build is 40, because that in Arkansas, you can hunt small game and big.
Okay.
With 40.
Mm.
So if
Didn't
you
know
build
that.
a 36 caliber, you can only squirrel and rabbit hunt. But if you build
Okay.
a 40, you can shoot a squirrel or a deer.
Okay. I didn't know that. I don't hunt much.
Yeah.
Are you a hunter?
I bow hunt.
Bow
Oh,
hunt?
good for
Now,
you.
when I was a kid, I rifled hunt,
Mm.
but I don't know. I got older, got out of the military, and like
Oh.
rifle hunting was kind of like a,
Okay.
you know, I just
Didn't
like
think
to
of that.
bow hunt. It's more of a, like you were saying, it's more of a skill and it's a little-
Absolutely.
I don't know. It's just fun.
Cool.
Makes me feel like a real, like, I don't know,
I took it down.
like I took it down. Yeah. Now I'm not using a longbow. I'm using a compound. Let's get that
Okay.
right.
A little
So,
modern.
Not a recurve.
I'm 5'9". Walking around with a longbow, people would be like, what? Like it's like in the dirt, you know?
Yeah.
Like they heard me coming because I had to like carry that thing. Yeah, but no.
All right, so we're coming at the end. Where can everyone find you if they want a high quality craftsmanship, the best 100% satisfaction guaranteed?
I like this guy.
I'll word your website for you. The best of the best, gun or knife. or
Traditionalist
traditional,
made.
traditional
Pipe
handmade.
tomahawks, sword canes, dueling pistols, tables, chandeliers, garden gates, you name it.
You name it, you make it.
Nice.
Where can they go to find you?
Yeah.
They want to find you all
So-
over social media, even though you say you're
Yeah.
not good at it. Where could
Yeah.
they find you if they're
So on
looking?
Facebook, we're KCX Arms, like uppercase X.
With a C-A-S-E-Y.
CASEY Arms. And make sure you look at our business products page, because for some reason when we set up the KC Arms website, there's 2 Facebooks, but we have a business service or product services and then another page, and you'll see the one that has like 14,000 followers.
Yeah.
That's the right one.
That's the right one. Okay.
So there, and www.kcarms.com, CASEYARMS.com, and I do have a YouTube channel with like 2 videos that I don't really know what they are.
And you're going to put some more on there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We'll put some more on there.
Yeah, we
All
got a
right.
collab.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm serious, man. Figure out what you want to do. Let's
Yeah,
build it.
well,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
It's gonna be
Christmas
awesome.
is right around the corner. I think Christmas time is like when a lot of organizations are looking for funding.
Sure.
Yeah, I think we could brainstorm
Yeah.
and come up with some stuff. So
It's also the busiest time of year for
Yes.
retail. So
I mean,
and
yeah, it
he's
is busy, but I mean,
3 years out.
whatever, we'll figure it out. It might be
Yeah.
next
We'll
Christmas.
see.
but
We'll share it. We'll share it on the Build Guild. And
Yeah.
do you have an Instagram account?
I don't.
Okay, he's gonna have an Instagram account as well. So
Before he walks out of this building.
that's right.
Actually, my nephew was in charge of setting all that up. He might have set one up just to save our name, but if he does, I don't know.
You don't know where it is. Okay, if you are running that account, let us know.
Yeah.
We'd love to see what you're putting up there.
That's right. That's right.
Some
No,
dude
you're-
named Casey,
you're gonna
pictures
teach
of his
me how to
arm.
make
Right.
more content.
Yeah,
I
that's
need
the
to do
key.
that.
We'll do it.
Yeah.
It's-
Because we really have good feedback, and it's on random things sometimes. Like I'll post 6 knives, and you'll get comments, thumbs up, whatever. And then you post one, and it just blows up.
Uh-huh.
That's
Usually
the
the
nature
fails.
of the beast every
the fails
time.
are my biggest.
Yeah, or the
things.
boring
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Post one photo of a laser cutting through. You can't even tell what it is. It's in a curve. Hooray. People lose their minds.
Yep.
It's like
Yeah.
wood on fire with
Internet-
a laser.
internet is
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah.
It is, and it's an amazing tool. I wouldn't be in business if it wasn't.
I
cool.
wouldn't either.
At all.
Me
Nope.
neither.
Like
Yep.
Facebook has been huge for us. Like I make something, I post a picture, somebody likes it, they show a buddy, boom, we get another order for that one. You know,
Good.
Change it up a little, and that's what's kept us going.
That's great. Awesome.
Good stuff.
All right, well, that's it for this episode. Thanks for listening to the Build Guild podcast. Anybody else want to say anything?
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for
We
being
appreciate
here.
you coming. It's awesome. So we'll see you next time.
See you
Ciao.
later.
Bye.